Hey, what is up guys, Master Gaming here, and for this week's throwback, we're going to be looking at Ghostbusters, the video game. A game that came out in 2009 of June, I think about from now, I want to say about 4 years ago. Could be wrong, don't quote me on it. And the reason why I chose this was, I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. The way how it started off with me and the Ghostbusters was, one day it came on TV and me and my mom started talking about it, and she was like, yeah, it was a big during the 80s, and I went to go see it in the movies and stuff. So I was like, okay, I want to see it, see what the movie's all about. And I looked up on YouTube and watched the whole first one and the second one all on YouTube, and I found it really funny and enjoying how, Dan Aykroyd, the dude that wrote the Blues Brothers, if you guys don't know, he and Harold Ramis both wrote the Ghostbusters, this sci-fi film for the 80s, and I can see why it was a big success during the 80s. Stuff like this people really love to see, and even now in this current generation, there's some people that love to watch good old movies like this. So when they announced it back during June, I think I was in the 10th grade when they first announced this game. They was talking about, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis was getting the old original cast back together, all the original voice actors from the first two movies, and they was bringing them all into the video game, because as of then they was still trying to put together a Ghostbusters movie. So like for a good sort of prologue to leading up to the third Ghostbusters movie they're trying to create now, and they made Ghostbusters. The video game was created by Terminal Reality, and the engine that they used, the gaming engine they used to create this, was called the Infernal engine. And it's a real good engine, as you guys can see the real destruction, because if you ever seen any of the Ghostbusters movies, whenever times they fired their proton pack, they always left like a heaping of destruction when it came to catching ghosts, and they really captured the essence of the destruction of a proton pack can cause when you light it up in a room full of books, chairs, or anything, how much destruction it can actually cause. The voice acting in this was superb, because it's all original cast. There were no fill-ins for none of these characters. These was actually played by Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, and of course Bill Murray. For those that don't know who Bill Murray is, if you ever watched Garfield as a kid, this is the guy that you see named Peter Venkman that is played by Bill Murray and also Garfield. And he was superb in this, but him doing a video gaming contract as a movie status. They say that his agent tells Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis that he's not on board for Ghostbusters 3, because I'm guessing he's trying to hold out and see if he can get some money from Sony, because Sony is the people that owns the rights of all of the Ghostbusters franchise and stuff. That's who supported and made this game, and I'm guessing he's trying to see if he can get any more money out of Sony for this movie. But that's how I feel about it. I hope eventually he says, okay, I'm all on board for it. Let's make this movie, and I would love to see a third Ghostbusters movie. But this game, leading into like a third Ghostbusters movie, it was great. They gave you a character. They don't say who his name is. They just refer to him as the Rookie or the Rook. And you basically, you come onto the Ghostbusters job because they need an extra pair of hands. Because as you can see, an evil entity has came out of the ghost world, and apparently is causing a lot of mischief. So they need one more Ghostbuster instead of 4. Now there's 5, and you basically helping them try to solve the mystery, while at the same time you have this cool little job where you basically test all their non-safe equipment before they actually before they actually use them themselves. And I find that funny. So if something goes wrong, they're like, oh well, something didn't go right with the Rook when he tested it. So now we got to go back to the drawing board. You basically like the crash test dummy for all their experiments. But the cool thing about it is you get to play with some cool, awesome toys before they actually get to use them themselves. So yeah, it may be light threatening, but at the same time you get to use some awesome stuff to take on the ghost of it. Yeah, now Terminal Reality really captured the whole essence of Ghostbusters, down to the traps, how to capture ghosts and all that. It sort of uses like the fishing technique. If you guys know Luigi Mansion, you basically have to use it like a fish hook, yank the ghost in, except you're not sucking them into a vacuum cleaner. You are putting them into a ghost trap, which that you have in your possession. So with that, you start to, basically have to keep them within this cone like here, to put them down in the trap. Now, the Ghostbusters, they will always be with you on missions, and they can also help you, when it comes to capturing ghosts. But other than that, you're pretty much by yourself in some parts of this game. So, it's like when you're capturing a ghost, you can have more Ghostbusters with you, like what if you have Ray or Egon with you when they capture the same ghost you're capturing. You can find it a little bit easier, to put the ghost in the trap compared to when you're not with them. You have to actually, fight a little bit to keep them in line. You got to slam them because there's a slam bar that you guys probably seen or going to see in the video, where you have to basically like knock the ghosts out so you can be able to put them in the cone of the trap and keep them still long enough for them to go in. You can also buy upgrades, to upgrade your proton pack. There's also this little bar on the right hand side of the proton pack, and if that overheats, the proton pack basically shuts down for a couple of seconds, then it resets. So you basically have to keep ventilating the pack, but you can buy upgrades for whenever time you fire a stream or any other type of energy weapon out of the proton pack. You can have like a cool, it doesn't take as much heat as it normally would do if you didn't have an upgrade on it. So I found that really cool. It was very balanced. They had Slimer, one of the most famous ghosts in here. They had Gozer, which was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that you saw back in the first Ghostbusters. They made a lot of references to the first two movies in most cases of this game, and I found it really interesting that as old as Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson is, they can still write a pretty good Ghostbuster story. And I wish they made more games like this, like Ghostbusters in general, because the very first Ghostbusters that was ever made, to my knowledge, came back out on Sega. Standard like sort of little 2D pixelated scroll to the side like the old Sonic games used to be, and that was like the only Ghostbuster game that was ever really made back during them days. And then they came out with Ghostbusters, the video game, for this current day and age, and it really set the bar on a lot of things and showed that these guys are still thinking about Ghostbusters day to day. They haven't forgot about it. They still live and breathe all this this ghost, all this type of psychological entities coming from another parallel plane of a universe. It's just really interesting, great storytelling, and I wish they could write another video game in preparation for the movie they're still working on. Probably get Terminal Reality or another type of video game company to work with them again. Bring everybody back again. Let's make another good video game surrounding picking up where the last one picked off. And I would actually pay $60 for that game, because this game wasn't all that bad when it came out. It didn't get the hype that it shouldn't have gotten. I've seen like a couple of videos on it, a couple of interviews with Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and some with Bill Murray, them talking about the video game, loving to see all each other coming back again after, all these years since Ghostbusters 2 was filmed. It felt good, like they sort of was reliving their younger days, but in video game form. And, I think it would be nice, if the game really did get that much hype. It's not all that bad of a game. I think if it got more publicity, if it was more out there, I think it would have did a lot better, and Sony would probably make it like a top list game for them to keep making and giving it to the general public, and making more money for the Ghostbusters franchise, and then they can possibly have more money to pay Bill Murray in order for them to make this next Ghostbusters movie that they've been talking about making. They actually announced that back during last year, like in the winter of last year, coming in this year, saying, Bill Murray was not trying to join up with the movie because he feels that he should be able to be paid a lot more. And then Dan Aykroyd is sitting up saying, well, we're going to try to keep going, but there will always be a place for Bill Murray in this franchise. Whenever he decides to come back, we're not going to just leave him behind. And I like that. Despite what his agent is sitting up or whatever it is, despite whatever the reason that Bill Murray does not want to come and do a third movie, Dan Aykroyd is basically saying, well, we got a place for you whenever you're ready to come back home. There will always be a place for you here, just come back whenever you're ready, and you know we can always keep doing what we always love to do. But in the meantime, we're gonna try to push a little bit on without you. But whenever you're ready, you know nothing won't be changed. Everything will still be the same, and we can always keep doing it. And I like that support. You don't hardly see that support when when it comes to actors or directors or writers. When it comes to making content, it's very interesting, to see how much love is within that franchise of these guys making up this world, this paranormal world, where they're the only people that can stop it, and it has this funny type of humor to where sarcasm actually is good sarcasm, not that type of sarcasm that makes you mad and pissed off, and make you want to set the world on fire. I'm sorry guys, I haven't been uploading on time as I usually do. Usually I always upload at midday, 12 o'clock noon Eastern time. I don't know what it is, probably Central or Western, but that's what I always usually upload. I've been having to run some errands for my parents over these last couple of days, but I'm trying to get back in action and uploading at noon again. So I hope you guys enjoyed this throwback of Ghostbusters, the video game. If you actually want to see more of Ghostbusters, the video game, let me know in the comments below, or if you have a Twitter and you're following me, tweet me saying, hey, can you show some more Ghostbusters footage? I'd like to see more of this awesome game. But I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, peace.
Shepard.
Grunt.
Shepard.
Rex.
Commander Shepard. Shepard.
Rex. Grunt.
Shepard.